All right. Welcome everyone to this section of Chevening IT webinar on essays. So this we had the first webinar last week, which focused more on general application tips from program officer and also an officer from the FCDO Cyber Policy Unit. But today's webinar will focus more on the essays, the leadership essay, the networking essay, the study in the UK essay, and your career plan essay. And I've invited some of my friends who serve as our mentors. They are the one, if you have any questions, they're the one that's going to be answering all your questions, anything that you have concerning the essays, as long as it's questions that you can't find on Google. So you don't want to be asking questions like, how many essays are we writing? How should we approach the essays? Things like that, that is easy, that you should already know by this point by reading on Chevening website and all of those things. So those basic questions, you don't want to be asking those kind of basic questions. So the approach we're going to be doing is I'm just going to introduce our mentors. They're going to talk a bit about their story during the application process, when they applied for the for Chevening, why they choose to apply for Chevening, and also how they went about their essay writing process. And then I would ask them a couple more questions and then throw the door open for everyone to ask your questions. All right, so today we have in our midst Brendan Duncan. He's a Chevening Scholar, 2022-2023 Chevening Scholar. He's a cybersecurity scholar currently studying in the UK. He will be one of our mentors today. And also we have Grace. Grace is also a Chevening scholar. She's studying data science at Cardiff University. She's also one of our mentors. We are also expecting about 2 other mentors, a cybersecurity scholar and someone else. So you're welcome, Brendan and Grace. Can you hear me, Brendan?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Grace.
Okay, great. I would just let I think I would let Grace go first.
All right. Hi, Grace. How are you? Can
Okay
you
with
hear
it,
me?
of course.
It's Grace on the call. Let me see.
Myself. Oh, I was just saying that I'm not able to unmute myself.
Oh yeah. How are you?
I am very fine. Thank you for having us here, and it's such an honor to be mentoring people today. Yes, I'm Grace from Kenya, currently in Cardiff. I don't know what else I'm supposed to say, honestly.
Yeah, I think that yeah, Grace from Kenya, and your course, what are you studying? Yeah, I think I already said that anyways, but just say.
Yes.
Right. All right. So that's Grace, current Chevening scholar. So Brendan, do you just want to do an introduction, just like that too? Can you hear me, Brendan? Oh, okay. Sorry. Let me make you
Yeah, I'm good now.
co-host so that you can unmute.
Great. Yes. I'm guessing you can hear me now.
Yeah, I can hear you good. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, my name is Brendan Duncan. I am from Grenada in the Caribbean. I am studying, well, I just completed my dissertation, so I'm done studying information security at UCL. Yeah, I'm currently located in Bristol, but I studied in London. Yeah, so it's an honor to be here as well. Thank you for the opportunity, Jonathan.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on this webinar. So Brendan is in UCL, that's University College London, studying cybersecurity. Right. So let's just dive right into it. I'll start with you, Brendan. So if you just want to just tell us about your experience, your application process, and how it was like for you during the application process, and just any bit of information that you want to share.
Yeah, no problem. I think for me, the application, well, the experience for the application period, I think it was like, for us, it was 3 months. It was a very daunting 3 months. I think you have to think about all the great and positive things about yourself. And for a lot of people, that is quite hard to do. We all often suffer with imposter syndrome, and that can be one of our biggest disadvantages for the Chevening application period. I believe that writing the essays is definitely a process. It doesn't happen in one day, 1 hour, or so forth. It's a process. So you have to continue writing for like probably a whole 2 months. Like you have to continue, just like you might be walking or going to work or something like that, and you might just get an idea of something you can put in your essay. So it's not something that just, you can sit down and say, all right, I'm going to just write these essays in 2 hours. I think it's something you have to meditate on. You have to think about what can be the best things to add there, because we probably have a lot of experience, a lot of things to add in the essay. But I believe that we have to be very strategic in what we actually include. We have to tell a story, and we want to maintain a theme. And if something is a good example, but it doesn't fit within your theme, you can leave it out, or you can find a way to maintain that theme. Now, for me, that's how it worked out. Of course, you have to be able to sell yourself to the fullest extent. And as I mentioned earlier, we're always, well, I am always doubting myself and doubting the things that I can do. And I don't see sometimes you don't see the value in the things that you do, but you have to be able to extract that benefit and show that what you do is something good and something that benefits yourself and your community. So I think those are, well, that's part of my experience. And in terms of the Chevening essays, one of the things that I did a lot of was including my friends and past Cheveners in my reviews. So I didn't just write my essays, I would send it to friends of mine who were past Cheveners, or just normal friends of mine who are good at writing as well, and good at telling stories and so forth. And I would give them so that they can review it and tell me, I think you're going wrong here, I think you can improve here, and so forth. Again, at the end of the day, it's your decision what you include and how you decide to include it. But it's always important to listen to other people, because they might have an outside view of what you're doing and how you're doing it. So yeah, that is my experience. Quite short one, but yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you so much. That was quite detailed. Grace, do you want to share your experience for us?
Yes. So I had similar experience with Brendan, to be honest. It's only that there is that section that people don't talk about, where you feel that okay, I don't know, we don't tend to write a lot about ourselves and our achievements. And when I was writing my essays, I was like, over here, am I boasting too much? Should I write this? Should I not write this? So that's one thing that really stood out for me when I was writing my Chevening essays. What I'd like to tell everyone who's writing them right now: put your best foot forward. Don't shy away from your achievements, because you're actually the one who achieved that. When you're going to write that you started something within the university and it became one, like for example, the way in our university, Jonathan has started a Nigerian society. So maybe in your university you started a society and you feel, okay, maybe this is a bit too much, please write it. Because at the end of the day, Chevening is only going to accept 2% of the applicants, right? Like in our year, 80,000 people applied and only 1,500 were accepted. So what will make you stand out? That's exactly what they want to see. And it's not, okay, as much as your academic achievements really matter, it's also what you've done outside the school. Anything that is not academic, be it within the community, or you started a foundation to help people with their tuition, or you are tutoring people. So whatever it is that is not very academic based, like the grades, they want to see that, because they want want to see an all-rounded person, because Chevening is more of looking for leaders and leaders who can network well. So don't shy away from writing about your achievements, because you did that and you gotta represent yourself there. So yeah, that's all I got to say for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was very detailed. I mean that the two of you raised very important points. Like, sometimes we might feel like we don't want to talk about things that we have done because we are trying to be humble. But in the case of Chevening, you have to throw all your humbleness away, because I mean, like Grace said, like a lot of people apply and they only select just a handful of applicants. So that is now is not the time to be humble. Of course, you don't want to be braggadocious about it. You want to blow your trumpet, but not in an arrogant way. There's difference between arrogance and confidence. So you don't want to be arrogant about it, but you want to be confident about what you've done. If you've done stuff, if you've done a lot of things, if you've created these initiatives, or if you've mentored people, or if you've done anything basically that you feel like you should talk about, talk about it in the best way possible. Know how to tell your story. Nobody's going to tell your story for you. You have to know and learn how to tell your story, because at the end of the day, Chevening choose the people who are best storytellers. And the thing about it is there might be somebody that might not have done a lot up to what you have done, but because they are able to tell their story very well, they might get selected because of that. So if you don't tell your story properly, even if you have done a lot of things, or you are feeling very humble about what you've done, you don't want to talk about it, that you within yourself a very great disservice by not telling your story. So yeah, I agree with both of you. You have to really talk about what you have done, the impact you have made, and that will be really, really helpful. Thank you so much, Brendan and Grace. The next question I have for you, Grace, I'll start with you this time, is how was your approach? What was your approach in when you like how were you able to, some people on the call have gotten some responses of people like not able to articulate or identify the kind of stories that they want to tell, or the kind of experience that they want to tell. How were you able to decide which of your experiences you're going to use in your essays? And also, how did you approach it? Like, is it this or is it that? Did you have anything that you used in deciding what examples you want to use? Just in case maybe some people are here, they don't know, and they are feeling that also, like, what have they, if they have not done a lot? So, like, how did you go about yours?
Great. So I think the first 2 weeks I was writing down everything that I've ever done, be it simple, like the smallest thing that I've ever done, or the biggest achievement that I've ever gotten. So that's exactly the first thing that I did. I took my notebook, wrote down all my achievements, and I was trying to, at the same time, I was trying to relate them either to the leadership essay, relate to go to the networking, we need to go to studying in the UK or career plan. So that's how I was listing them down. And it took a lot of, actually I think that section really took a lot of time, because I was writing, okay, for example, if I started something, I started a foundation. So I write, okay, I founded this. And then next to it, I write a small description of exactly what I did. So by the time I was going to write my essays, I had all these experiences, but then it was now narrowing down to which one will make the most impact, as you've mentioned. So at that moment, I had a mentor and we went through all the achievements with my mentor. And there are things that, okay, outrightly, they seemed to be in the essay, and others didn't really seem to be in the essay, because for something like networking, if I can give that example, for a networking essay, they want to see they don't want to see how many friends you really have. They want to see, with the kind of networks you have, what impact have you made. So if maybe I'm okay, now which example can I give? Anyway, the point is you have to show an impact. Make sure each example you're putting in your essay has the greatest impact. So that's the approach I took. So for the first 2 weeks, writing down the achievements, the next 4 weeks I was writing essays, as you mentioned earlier. I used to walk think about something, write it down. Even sometimes, when you're doing this Chevening application, it gets to you. Sometimes you sleep and you dream about something. You're like, oh, well, I need to wake up. This is a strong point. I need to have it there. So, yes, the 4 weeks were intense. And to be honest, within the 4 weeks, I didn't write the 500 words. I think one of my essays was, 2,000 words, but I was like, oh, it's fine. I will write whatever is in my mind and then I will narrow it down. So the next 4 weeks, I was just writing. And then the next 2 weeks, now it was narrowing down to 500 words. And that was the most intense moment for me, because you have all this information that you've written down and you want to narrow it down to make sure that it's really, really outstanding, because it needs to be a competitive essay. So when I got it to 500, I think all my essays at the end of the day, they were just at 500 words. So that's an approach at work. I don't know if it will work for everyone, but yeah, that worked for me. It's not easy. I can't promise it's easy, but enjoy the process. Every day when you're writing that essay, when you're writing your achievements, just remind yourself, I am doing this because I want to get the scholarship, and it will keep you very, very, very motivated. So yes, that's the approach I took. Thank you, Jonathan.
All right, yeah. In fact, I really like the point that you raised about writing. At least just listing the things that you have done, because Chevening is not just about just reading about what is Chevening and then carry your pen and start writing, listing your achievements. That was really, I think I also followed similar approach. Yeah, that was really a good point. I think will be applicable to everyone. Yeah, over to you, Brendan.
Yeah, thanks, Jonathan. Yeah, for me as well, the first approach, in terms of my experiences, you would, of course, well, you would know your experiences, right? But you list them out, and kind of try to rank them and scale them and see which ones you want to include in the final essay. For me, I used my most recent ones first, because I had a lot of experiences coming from like probably 10 years ago, 7 years ago, and so forth. But I realized, hey, we need to include more of your work experience. What happens, for instance, with your leadership. You want to include more of what happened at work, and not, from back in school, so that they see that you have experience from that domain. Also, again, as I mentioned earlier, I try to maintain a specific theme throughout my entire essay. So all the 4 essays would maintain a theme. And of course, that theme would help as well when you get into the interview stage, because you are basically telling a story for the entire essay. So I would use the examples or the experiences that would fit within that theme as well. And I think Grace mentioned the impact. Of course, you have to, when you're scaling, you have to understand the impact that the projects and the experiences that you had would have. And of course, you want those that had the bigger impact to be the ones that are in the forefront. So you use most recent, you use you maintain that theme, but you want that big impact in there. So yeah, that's my approach for selecting which experiences to use.
Right. Thank you so much. I hope you are jotting all of these points down, because it seems like everyone had similar things that they did during their essay process, because it was also similar things that I did. So this, if like the scholars on the call are saying this is what works for them, and somebody else is confirming it, so it probably means that it works. It's something that you could also use. So I hope you guys are taking notes, in fact, and you're also like writing your lessons down, and also like writing your questions, because really these are really, really cogent points that can help you narrow down which of your examples to use during your essay. In my own case, I think it was also like almost similar to what you guys have said, Brendan and Grace, because before I started, like I said earlier, before I even started writing anything, I just like try to like do a self-introspection. So that's one thing that Chevening would force you to do a self-introspection. Like, who are you? What do you want in this life? Like, what do you want on it? What have you done previously? You might have done things that you feel like it's not big enough, or it's not nothing, or it's not a lot. Just write it down. Or maybe at this point you volunteered for this cause, or at this point, maybe in your university, you're the class rep, or maybe at your work, you brought out an initiative that everybody accepted. Just list out all of those things that you think are small. Just list them that, okay, maybe point one, I was class rep and I did this. This is what I did. I managed a student of about 20 students to teach them some assignments or stuff, or maybe in your workplace. List out all of those points of achievements of things that you have done, no matter how small. You might have a list of up to 20, but you're just and this is for each of the essays. I mean, we'll still go into each of the essays, but this is just a general approach to helping you find the examples that you can use for your essay. So when you make a list, that's when you can now start looking at them. You can now start fleshing them out. Okay, what are the points? What did you achieve in this? Because in some of it's not all your example that will be applicable. Maybe some of your examples is not very impactful enough, or you actually held you actually thought you did something, but when you now break it down, you see that okay, the impact is not really tangible enough. You didn't really do enough impact. So you then start to strike it out and then pick the most relevant one. So you see that's what most three of us did in our essays, and I think that approach would also be very useful for you. So thanks guys for those tips. So next question I have here is, so now let's go into the essays proper now, starting with the leadership essay. So I don't know if you guys just want to freestyle it.
Sorry, Jonathan. Sorry to I think someone has their hand up.
Oh, okay.
Nasir?
Yes, please. Oh, okay, yeah. So you can unmute and ask your question.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. I just want to ask a question because I had you mentioning like an example of the leadership role.
Sorry, you're not clear. You can really.
I said I had you citing me saying that when right and if the person can cite example of the leadership role that he holds during the secondary school or university.
Is it just me or is everyone not hearing also?
Hello, can you hear me?
It seems like there's a bit of background noise where you are.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think it's better now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's better.
Yes, I said my question is, I had you mentioning something like citing examples while writing an essay. So I said, for example, now, if I'm going to write an essay, whether leadership essay or any of the essays, so is it mandatory for me or is it important for me to be mentioning or listing each of the roles that I have played, like any leadership role that I have held during my secondary school or university education?
Okay, so I think your question, if I get it correctly, must you like list all of the leadership roles that you've been in your leadership essay?
Yes.
Right. So I will just allow anyone to take the question. But before that, like I wanted to say like, so there's I was going to say that before you raised your hand, like there's a difference between leadership and impact. So because you are occupying a leadership position does not necessarily mean you are making impact. So because let's say, for example, now you are the president of an association, that does not necessarily mean that you're a leader. So some people confuse it and say, oh yeah, I'm a leader in this, I'm a president of this, I'm a president of that, I'm president, and that's what, I've seen some essays that's what some people just do in their essays, just list what they are, just list positions that they occupy. But that's different from, you don't need to like have those like list, like, because it depends on what you now do, what the impact that you did with your office. So if you just go about listing positions that you held, or maybe you were the class rep in this, or you were the team lead in your office, or you were the president of this society, and you're just listing all of those and saying, oh, you let these people to do this, but you didn't state what impact you did. I don't think that is the right way. Yeah, but yeah, Brendan or Grace, you guys can just give your thoughts on that question.
Yeah, I agree 100%, Jonathan. I think the leadership, when you're showing that you're showing that you're a leader, and one way to do that is actually showing how impactful you were as a leader. Of course, you showed the challenges that you face, and how you overcome them. So you can't just say, hey, I was president of this, I was vice president of this. That won't go anywhere for Chevening. You need to show the impact. You need to show how you empowered people. You need to show, you need to highlight how you empowered people and so forth. So I agree with Jonathan 100% on that one.
All right. Grace, any thoughts? Is Grace? Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
I was actually like, any thoughts on the question that was asked about leadership?
I think I got disconnected when Brendan was talking, but yes, I believe you and Brendan have given the correct advice. I'm so sorry. There was a network glitch where I am.
Oh, okay, no worries. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope that answers your question.
The question was what you should write in the leadership essay, right?
Yeah, like if they can just be listing like leadership positions that they have held.
Okay.
Yeah, what's your thought on that?
Oh yeah. So in terms of listing the leadership positions that you have held, it will be more impactful if you list the leadership example and the impact you created. For example, as you were saying earlier, you are a class rep. So for example, in your class, if you were studying software engineering, your school didn't have a software engineering club, and you as the class rep decided that you want to start a software engineering club. And when you started the software engineering club, you're able to partner with other companies within your community and or within where the university is. And because of that, some people are able to get internships. So you are not just saying you are a class rep, you are saying that through you being a class rep, you are able to partner. And that also shows networking. So that will also can fall in the side of leadership or in the side of networking. And the impact was some of your classmates were able to get internships and finally they got permanent jobs. So it's not about listing, but how impactful it was. Yes. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for that. That was exactly where it was. All right, so next question I have for you guys about the leadership essay. So you just want to like start the leadership essay, like just about what kind of structure, how to go about it, maybe a paragraph, terms of paragraph, introduction, body. How many examples would you recommend they give in the leadership essay? Talking a bit about star approach generally. Brendan, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. The leadership essay, basically you have to demonstrate your leadership qualities, your potential to lead and have a positive impact on your community. For the leadership essay, of course, Chevening is looking for future leaders. And of course, that's where you can show them that, hey, I am a leader now and I plan to continue being a leader in the future. Of course, in terms of the structure of the essay, I think you can structure the essay however you want to structure the essay. However, you want to introduce something, you want to start by making a general statement, or, I think for me, what I did, I stated what a leader means to me. Of course, and then I went on to demonstrate that form of leadership that I introduced at first. I think Jonathan would have mentioned the STAR approach, and I think that is in my opinion, that is the best approach to take for the leadership essay. And the STAR approach goes from it's the situation that you faced, the task that you had to complete, the action, how you basically went about doing it, and the results. And I think out of these four things, I think the result is one of the most important, as it shows that you actually get something out of what you started off doing in the first place. So of course you want to discuss whatever challenge that you would have faced, and how you overcame it. And again, as we mentioned earlier, you don't want to just state that, hey, I was president of XYZ. You need to show, you don't even have to be the president to show that you are a leader. There could have been a president of a club, but you could have rose to the if there was a certain challenge, you could have, come out with something and basically actioned it. So you don't really have to say that you were president of XYZ. For instance, if you are in your workplace, something happened and you had to step up and take the lead on a project, that is also showing that you're a leader. And of course, one of the most important things, again, you need to show how you empowered people. So the actions of your leadership, how it was able to empower other people as well, because of course, that is what being a leader really means. You need to be able to empower people, and you're not leading if you're not empowering anyone, in my opinion, of course. So yeah, so basically, don't just list out what you've the leadership positions that you've held, but you need to show that you are a problem solver, and you need to show that, hey, you are able to achieve XYZ by doing something. And it's good to be able to measure. It's good to be able to have something, like have figures, or if you have that, of course, if you don't force it. But if you have some kind of figures saying that, because of your leadership, sales went up by XYZ amount in the organization, or, something like that. Again, don't force it if you don't have it. However, you can, if you have it, you need to put that in there so you can see that it's something that was measurable. Yeah, that is what I can think about right now for the leadership essay.
All right, thank you so much. Grace, do you want to go?
Yeah, so just to add, I think there's a very small point. I think for my experience when I was writing the leadership essay, I didn't have that much of work experience because I had just recently graduated from the university, my undergrad. So, and I remember when I was writing that leadership essay, I was like, oh my goodness, there are people who have like lots of years of experience, and what I have is my internship and my volunteer role that I have to write over there, that maybe I did something. So maybe for those people who don't have lots of years of experience, try and maximize on the things you did while you in the university. Or even if you didn't do a lot while in the university, the other thing you can write about is what did you do, like when you were volunteering, or even the internship role that you held, because you had something, you did something over there that impacted people positively, or you had a change. Okay, you made a change somewhere. Maybe the systems are okay. For example, an example that I gave during my interview and not in the essay itself. So because they told me that in your essay you had lots of experience, lots of examples regarding your university, like what else apart from the university. So I told them, okay, well, I just recently graduated, but I started working recently, and I realized that when, like, the filing system in our office wasn't so good. That was for the leadership example, by the way. So I told them, I realized that people were packing papers, like they were just putting papers without labeling them, and then when you're going to the files, it takes a lot of time by the time you get the paper that you want. So what I did, I came up with a labeling system. I decided to label all the papers, like regarding the item, alphabetically, and I was like, interesting. So that is something you can write in your essay. You got into an internship process and you realize, oh, well, these people are like, if there's an easier way of doing something, that is an impact that you have created in that place. It shows that you didn't have that leadership role in that company, but you have the zeal and the will to make change. That means you're a leader. So try and for those people who don't have lots of years of experience, maximize on the internships, on the volunteer roles that you held, even in the university as well. Yes, that would be my take. And also to add on what Brendan said, yeah, perfectly. Okay, back to you, Jonathan.
All right, thank you so much. In fact, I really like the fact that you mentioned like you don't have lots of experience, because I think it's a good balance. Because some people also will feel like you need to have like 10 years of experience, or like I've seen people who literally graduated and also got Chevening the next year. So it's not necessarily, it's, most of the time it's what you've been able to do, not necessarily a lot of work experience. And you can, Chevening also requires like 2 years work experience. So you can actually have gotten that your 2 years work experience while still studying. So it's not just about you can volunteering roles, what you did in volunteering, what you did in your spare time, what you even, so in fact, it doesn't necessarily need to be big things. maybe in your locality, you realize some kids used to just play away their time and they don't have relevant things to do. Or maybe you realize some kids used to just come to you, they want to play with your phone, or they just want to play with your laptop. And maybe you gathered some kids together and started teaching them computer or teaching them how to use Microsoft Word. So in that kind of case, now you're not holding any official in quote leadership position, but you are actually doing you are impacting people. So that is what Chevening you consider as a leader, not necessarily holding a leadership position. So I hope you are getting it now. So in this example I just gave now, and also in the example that Grace gave, she was not like holding any position that she mentioned. Like she just saw like, okay, this filing system it could actually be done in a better way. Maybe suggested it to a management and they asked her to do it, and then she did it, and then it was easy. Everybody liked it. That was a perfect example of leadership example. So in this kind of case now, of let's even break it down in this kind of Grace's example now, using the STAR approach that Brendan mentioned. I believe we should all know the STAR approach: situation, the task, the action, and the result. So the situation now in this kind of Grace's case would be like the situation was she got an internship and she realized that people spend a lot of time trying to take files from the filing system because of it's cumbersome, it's not organized. So that is just the short version of the situation. That is the situation that she met. So the task now will be, what can she do to make it easier for everybody, to make it more efficient, to make life easier in the office when they are filing their system. That is the task. What is the action that she did there now? The action probably would be, maybe she spoke to management about it and she brought up an idea. Oh, okay, let us buy tapes, or let us label these files, let us put them in different racks so that it's easier for people to take files. That is the action. So when you're writing your example, you want to focus on the action now. So in this kind of, but using that same example of Grace's example, that is probably an action, the action that she took. Now maybe she spoke to management, she got people, maybe if she needed funds to maybe buy the racks or buy the tapes or buy the pens, those are things that you include in your essays. In your essay when you're writing, like, okay, you spoke to management and you're able to raise funds, or you convince them. So when you use things like that, you convince management to release funds to be able to buy the tools necessary to be able to implement that your idea. That is the action. And then what is the result? After you implemented the idea, you put the files into racks and you put the files, people were able to get files. It cuts down the time by which people were using to retrieve the files from the system, which makes it more efficient and which makes people more productive. That is a perfect example of a STAR approach without even holding a leadership position. But that is a really, really good example that you could use. So you can see how we broke it down now using that kind of case now. So thank you very much, Grace and Brendan, for that exposition on leadership essay. So yeah, it will just go straight to networking essay. So you just the same way we did the leadership essay, just tell us like what your thoughts on networking essay approach, how to approach it, examples, and what to include and what not to include and things like that. Grace, I'll start with you. I know you just finished speaking now, but yeah, just if you want to go again.
I was so used to Brendan starting. Oh well. Here we go. So for networking, as I had mentioned earlier, it's how you use your networks to make an impact. So okay, I don't know, I just like examples and I explain. So one example you can put in your essay, maybe you met this person on LinkedIn. Yeah, you wanted some help with something within the university, for example, the club. Okay, you use starting at the school club, like software engineering club. So you realize that there's this person on LinkedIn that you had a connection with, and they're very good and they're renowned software engineers within your country, and you contacted them and invited them over for a career talk. So that shows that you as a person, because you have already explained that you're a leader, and also this shows that you use your networks to make an impact, because when this industry leader in software engineering decided to come to university, then with the career talk, that was an impact. Not only we like not only for you, for the students within your university, but also for this person that you are just, because you didn't know this person before, you created a network with them, you conversed with them. That shows that you have also good communication skills. You're professional, because you cannot just go and get a random person like from LinkedIn and they agree to come to your university to give a talk. So that also shows that you're professional, and that shows a very good image of the person you are. So all the networking examples that you will give, make sure there's a great impact, and if possible, include the numbers. And say that within the when you had the career talk, 500 students came, and 100 or not even from university, maybe they traveled across the country to come for the career talk. Make sure you include the numbers, because when you include the numbers, it shows lots of significance, and they can be able to relate it. It has that visual representation in their minds. So for each networking example, impact. I think, yeah, the message today is all about making sure your example has an impact. Yes. Back to you, Jonathan.
All right, thank you very much. That was very expository. Brendan, do you want to add to that or share your own thoughts on networking essay?
Yeah, sure. Right. So so for the networking, I think Grace would have mentioned a great deal. However, I think for the networking essay, you don't just show off your network. You know, just I don't say, oh, I know the president of XYZ country. I mean, just saying that is useless for Chevening. You need to show how you build and how you maintain that professional network. Also, I think a key point here is how you are able to use that network or that network connection to benefit yourself and your community. So you need to show, hey, I don't just know this person. I was able to create this relationship and maintain it, and I was able to use that connection to benefit my community in some way. For instance, I think one of the examples I used, one of the in the tech company I worked for before Chevening, one of the managers there, he was big on serverless technology and so forth. And the University of the West Indies in Barbados, I knew some of the lecturers there. And I was discussing with them how about their program, and they had nothing with serverless or nothing with cloud computing in it. So I was like, you know, it sounds like a good idea to have someone give a guest lecture on serverless computing, cloud computing, so that the students there can, you know, understand what these things are, because they're the new realm of doing things. And I set up that little lecture for the students in the web development class, and you know, I used that as one of my examples. Of course, I didn't outline it like that, but that was one of the examples I would have used for networking, because I showed that, okay, yes, this is someone that I know at work. However, I was able to use that network to benefit not just myself, but to also benefit the students at the university at that time, who was doing undergraduate in that field. So I believe, yes, it's very important that you need to show how you're able to build and maintain that network, but you need to also ensure that you show that how it was beneficial for you and your professional journey, and also how it was able to benefit a community or your community or something like that. So yeah, that's my take on the networking essay. Oh, and one more point is, of course, you need to show how you plan to expand on your network during the time in the UK, and of course afterwards, and how you plan to use the Chevening network as well to benefit your country and your plans for your country.
Right. Thank you so much, Brenda. That was, in fact, I think two of you just covered everything that I would have also said if I was speaking. So yeah, that's literally it. You want to show how you have been able to benefit, how you have been able to utilize the networks for the benefit of not just you, and also but for the benefit of others. For example, you see the example that both of them gave. So that's how you want to show your example. And also another important thing to note is you want to also show how you are adding value to your network. So you don't want to just show that you are just a taker, like a symbiotic relationship. You want to show that it is okay, my biology is bad. But yeah, you don't want to show like you're just like a pest, just, you know, benefiting from them, you're not contributing to them. So you want to also state it how you are contributing to them. Maybe you met this person on LinkedIn and you saw that this person, maybe you're good in LinkedIn optimization, and you help this person to optimize their LinkedIn, and in turn they accepted to speak at your event. But just show that okay, it's a two-way thing and not a one-way thing. In fact, in our interview, that was the question that they asked. Like the question that they asked in the interview was, who you know is more important than what you know. Do you agree? So that question is not a right or wrong question. Whether you agree or you don't agree, it's not. That's not the point of the question. The point of the question is to see how you are able to benefit, whether who you know is more important or what you know is more important, or how you are also being able to benefit your network, and also how in turn you're benefiting from them. So that's a very good approach to use in your example. Yeah, I just saw one of our mentors join. I'm so glad you could be able to make it. Hi, Onyi. Welcome. Thanks for joining in.
Hi, Jonathan. Hi, everyone. Good to be here. You're very different.
I don't, can you just like do a bit of intro, your name, what year you got Chevening and what you studied for everyone?
Yeah, sure. My name is Oyindamola Williams. I did my MSc at the University of Birmingham. I studied human-computer interaction, and that was in 2020. So I finished in 2021, and I've been back in Nigeria since then. Yeah, so that's me. I currently work as a product designer at a startup.
Yeah, that's really nice. Thank you so much. I'm really glad you could be able to make it. Yeah, it was kind of like epic trying to get you here. So I'm happy that you've been able to come on the call. So I don't know if you just want to give your thoughts. We've talked about preparations for getting ideas, getting your story, telling how to tell your story, and we've moved into leadership essay, and now we're on networking essay. So I don't know if you just want to share some thoughts or have some things to say concerning all of those.
Yeah, I think there's a lot that can be said, and I'm sure you've already said a lot of really useful things. And when I came in, you were talking about networking. But I just wanted to say, generally speaking, what you want to do when you are coming up with your essays, that you want to take some time out to really think about your career, like really think about where you want to go, where you've been, where you currently are, because that's really going to shape most of what you're going to be talking about. For the leadership part of it, I think a lot of times people struggle with the leadership because they feel like they tend to tone down what you've actually done, and you're like, oh yeah, I've not actually done anything. But if you take to really think about it and ask yourself, like, in what ways you influence other people. I think for Shivni, the scale of it is not the most important thing. It's not that, oh, I've influenced 5,000 people, but even if the people you've influenced is just 10, 15, 20 people, or even if it's just two people, as long as you can demonstrate how you got there and why that is important, and useful. So I would say the most important thing would be to just take some time out to really think about and really reflect and not undermine where you've been, what you've done. And even if it's in networking, I think it was Brendan who was talking about it when I came on the call, and he was talking about how it's not just about saying I have met someone or I met this person, the president, but it's sort of like, what did you do with it? What's the outcome of it? How was able to benefit from that network. Um, so yeah, just be willing to put in that work to really think about and outline these things, so that when you start to put pen to paper and write the essay, you're not sort of just rambling, but you have like well defined points, and you're thinking about, okay, so what was the situation here? And I'm sure we've all heard about the STAR approach of writing essays. So what was the situation? What was the task? What was the action I took? And what was the result of it? So just really for each of the questions, each of the essays, really, really think about those things. So I think just generally speaking, that's what I would say, and really just do your research. I think one thing I found that was really useful for me when I was writing my essay was to just immerse myself in the whole process. Like I watched tons of videos, read tons of articles, and it was like it just comes and stabs me. I'll just be bleeding achieving essay. So it's like just immerse yourself and get your head in that space. And when you're doing that, everything just sort of flows out of that. So make sure you're doing your research. Make sure that you're really and it's great that you all come to this kind of webinar where you about it. Just make sure you're doing that and yeah. I'm sure there'll be more specific things that will come up later, but that's just
Thank you so much. That was very detailed. Doing research, in fact, I kind of consider it like that, doing research thing, because if I said it on the previous webinar that we did last week, like I literally slept on Chevening website, woke up. Sometimes I would sleep watching a Chevening video, and I wake up in the morning and I'll just continue watching the video, like watching the YouTube, lots of YouTube videos, sleeping on Chevening website. So yeah, you have that research point is also very important, and also the point about networking very important. Show how you have been able to utilize your network, not just saying you know this person. How have knowing that person been beneficial to your life, and also how have you utilized that to be able to impact other people? Because everything is all about impact. How have you been able to impact other people with the network that you know, with the things that you have done previously? So yeah, thank you for that. So we'll just go straight into the studying in the UK essay. So yeah, just like we did for previous essays, I'll start with Grace. So you just want to talk about studying in the UK, what to look out for when you're choosing your school, uh, any thought tips that people can use to choose their three choices. Should they choose the same course in the same university? What to look out for when they are choosing the course, or the course content, or just any general thing that you have to say about structure of the essay. Should they talk about why they want to go to the UK first, or why they want to go to the specific university? So yeah, just any thoughts on studying the UK essay? Grace, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I was trying to read. So, studying in the UK, yes, you'll mention a bit of why you want to go to the UK, because apart from your studies, they also want to see, okay, what else do you want to go to the UK to do? I remember in my essay, I wrote, I want to come to Cardiff because it has so many castles. That was ridiculous. But anyway, I was like, yeah, I'm trying to put my best foot forward out there, because I had researched that I think Cardiff has the highest number of castles in the world. I think there were like 600. Okay, yeah, that's what I wrote. But yeah, now going to the serious stuff about the school. So I chose the same course. Like when I was writing my essay, I chose the same course across 3 different universities. The reason why I did that, and my mentor advised me to do that, is when you choose the same course, but it might be different for other people, but when you choose the same course, it kind of shows consistency. It shows that you really want this. It shows that you're focused. So I chose the same course for 3 universities. So how I started my essay, I had 5 paragraphs. So the first paragraph was about why I want to come to the UK. The UK is known because it offers the best education across the world, and I had some details on why it is highly regarded. And then for my second paragraph, I chose why I wanted that course in that university. So my first priority was Cardiff University, data science. So I wrote why I want to study Cardiff. I want to study data science in Cardiff University. I listed out the points, like it's a great research school. It has this, and this. And if possible, if you can even add a professor, like you read this paper about this professor and they're doing tremendous work within the field that you want to get yourself into, please write that. It's really, 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 they will know that you've done your research. They will know that this is something that you want. And then it goes down like that. For the third paragraph, I wrote like the second priority, and the fourth paragraph, I wrote my third priority. And the final paragraph, it was how everything all together, like with the study in the UK, with my course, with the university, how they all come up together to provide the best experience. And this is exactly what I need for the next step in my career. So that's how I arranged my essay. And it will be very important for this one. It's research. This is not about you as a person, it's about how much you can research and how badly do you want this. You see how, like, we were saying that you sleep, you wake up, you're just thinking and dreaming about Chevening essays. That's exactly what should happen with this essay. If you're trying to write about like why you want to go to, let's say, back to Cardiff University, day and night, you should be dreaming about it. It should be exactly what you've written in that essay, and prove prove yourself. Put your best foot forward and prove yourself why you really, really want that course and that university. Some people opt for a different course, but within the same university, that is still allowed. I don't know the approach for that because mine was the same course, 3 different universities. So yeah, that's the approach I took. And back to you, Jonathan. Thanks.
If I just look at the way you're telling your story, even if I'm Chevening, I will select you also. Can you say, look at I mean, that's the kind of attitude that you all like want to have, like the kind of passion, like even till now, you still remember the things you wrote in your essays, like, so that is the amount of research that you see that people have put into getting the details of the university, and the passion that you're even talking about it, that you still even, that passion is still there up to now, that it's even, so you can see the way, so it's definitely is not just a joke, like something that you just take with levity, because it's a very, very big thing. So that's the amount of and yeah, the fact about Cardiff being like having lots of council, I think that's also a very legitimate reason to choose a school. For example, if you're a Manchester United fan, you can say you want to go to Manchester, a school in Manchester because you want to go to Old Trafford, or you want to go to Etihad Stadium. I mean, of course, that shouldn't be your main reason. You want to talk about the course and stuff like that, talk about the professor, but also you want to talk about something leisure that is not. I think one of the program officers in Nigeria said there's somebody that did not get Chevening because they were only focusing on book. They did not add something that they are going to be doing in their leisure time, maybe like watching football or visiting parks. That everything that they wrote in the essay is just about going to school. So Chevening is not just about like you want to add other things. So that the example of maybe choosing Manchester because you want to go to Manchester Stadium. That is like the extra thing that you can add, but not the main thing. For me, in one of my essays, I think I wrote some similar things. I wrote that, well, yeah, I want to travel, I want to visit the parks and all of those other things. So yeah, those are very good examples. Only I don't know if you want to add any your thoughts on studying UK essay.
Yeah, so what you said I think is very valid, Jonathan. Just having that um, diversity of reasons for going there, because what they're looking for is people who go there and really immerse themselves in the British culture and just really learn more about it, because they're looking for obviously ambassadors. So you can't be an ambassador of a place if you don't know much about it. So it's very valid reason if you have something else outside of your course, then I think the research and I think over the course of this call, I'm going to sound like a broken record because I'm just going to talk about research a lot because research is such an important part. Like Grace said about researching the course, if there is a research work that the school you're interested in is doing, or if there's a professor that you've seen their work and you're really interested in that, you could mention it, or if there's a particular module that you want to study about or you want to learn more about, you can mention that. Or if it's related to internship, or if it's in a city. So for example, one of the schools I chose was in London, and one of the reasons I chose it was because of the very vibrant tech community in London. How there are a lot of startups that would be good for me to working or do some kind of internship with after my course. So that's something you could also mention. So anything relating to your career. Then something else that could also be useful is you could also talk about how you intend to survive a rigorous master's program. So you don't just want you to go there, but they want you to actually go there and thrive and learn. And there are other things that you want to do. You want to have the cultural experience. If you're someone that wants to travel, you want to do all these things. You want to network. So you want to be able to say in your essay, this is how I intend to go there and balance my course. So that's something you could add. Um, how you know that it's going to be a rigorous course, and how your previous academic background prepares you for this course. I think this is going to be particularly useful if you are planning to do a course that is not exactly the course you did in your undergraduate. So, if, for example, you want to do public health and you maybe did maybe something that is not obviously public health in your undergraduate, you want to talk about how, though I didn't do this in my undergraduate, but this is how I'm going to survive or how I'm going to come out excellent doing this course. This is maybe if you've had experience previously, if you've done some kind of internship previously, if you've been studying this, you've done some online courses, or you have some approach to studying that you think would help you um, do that in a way that convinces them that if you're going there, your academics will not suffer. That would be really useful. And I think another thing that I would also add is that when you're starting out the essay, you want to make sure that you're linking your why to all your essays. And I think this is something that could make your application stand out, is that there is a common thread. So if you're talking about your leadership, your networking, you're studying the UK, that all these different pieces, there's just like this common. So when you come away from that essay, they're coming away with it of a strong sense of, oh, this is this person's purpose, this is this person's mission, and this is what they're going for. Um, let's say for example your purpose or your mission is that you want to see more inclusion in tech, or you want to see more people from different backgrounds come into tech. You talk about in your leadership essay and how that helped, how you did that, how you probably brought more a lot of people and influenced people and taught people from different backgrounds, different skills. In your networking essay, you could talk about that as well. In your study in the UK essay, you could also talk about that, and um that that common thread. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that whatever it is that is your why, let it come through in every of your essays. Also, your career as well. Your career after Chevening, what does that mean? I think that's something I could also say would be useful. So when you're starting off your study in the UK, you're talking about, this is the course I want to do. Here is why. Like Grace said, that it should focus if there's one course that you're doing, but of course it's not compulsory. Um, but it should focus if you're really thinking about one particular course. So you want to be talking about, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm going to make sure. So you want to be talking about, I want to study cybersecurity, for example. Why? What was your reason? What influenced you to do that? And then you launch into, okay, these are the course. Of course, you don't have to follow that format, but yeah, just a recommendation.
Thank you very much. That was very detailed. I like the point that you raised about like knowing your why. And I think that's very, very important also. Like you have to also like convince whoever is reading your essays that this is why you want to go and study this course, aside from the fact that of course that's what you want to do in your career, but there's like an underlying impact that you want to make in your country, your home country. Uh, an example that I will give in that kind of case, you can look at statistics of things that have been happening in that field. Okay, why do you want to study cybersecurity? You can say, oh, look at statistics of cybersecurity in your country, or maybe there's underrepresentation of a particular group in your country in cybersecurity, and studying this course would help you coach more people to be able to upskill them in that field. That is just an example. Or you could say, oh, maybe cybercrime is a lot, and you want to studying in the UK would help you curb part of cybercrime, or like that. Those are kind of example like why you have to state your why. So I really like that example and all the other points you raised. Thank you so much. Brendan, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I think you guys covered the majority of everything that I would have here. But just to mention, as Grace mentioned, I also applied to the same course at 3 different universities because I think that would have shown that this is what I'm actually after. And of course, it will show that you are actually stable between your plans are actually stable. I mean, not saying that if you have 3 different courses, it's different, but it helps me stick within the theme that I want to express or the themes that I want to show. One of the points that I wanted to mention also is that you want to show that the courses or the programs that you're looking into basically align with your career and academic aspirations. And also you want to tie it back to the development of your country. I think in each of the courses that I mentioned, I also tied it back and say, okay, this is how it would help me develop the field in information security in my case. Another thing that I did was I dig deep into the modules in the programs of the universities that I selected, and highlighted how the individual modules themselves, not just the full course now, the individual module, how it would assist me in my career development and also in developing my country. I think that shows that you did your research in the individual modules, and then you can, can express or you can show how it would assist you and develop your country and so forth. One of the things that I did, I was working on a project that dealt with data privacy and data protection and stuff like that. And some of the papers that I would have read, I realized that, hey, some of the professors at the universities that I was applying to were actually, they actually wrote some of those papers. And of course, you show your excitement that you're able to be taught by the people who wrote the papers that you were reading, or wrote the books that you were reading. So you want to show, that form of excitement for the course that you're going to do. And of course, again, you want to show that you're genuinely interested or excited about coming to the UK. Even if you must be excited about something. I mean, if you're applying to Chevening and you're not excited about anything in the UK, then you probably should reconsider. There's Fulbright scholarship for the US. But I'm saying that you must be excited about something. So you want to, not a big paragraph on it, but you want to state that excitement. For me, it was sports. My favorite football team is Arsenal, and that is one of the reasons why I wanted to go to London, and that's one of the reasons why I selected London as my first choice. You could be excited about the food, the architecture, the culture. I mean, select something and show that you're genuinely interested in experiencing that in the UK. Of course, don't take too much time on it, because you have a very short word limit. But you need to mention something about it. And of course, always stick within your theme. So you want to start off by, refreshing that theme, what you plan to go back to your country to do. And of course, you want to show how those courses would help you achieve that theme or that impact. Yeah, so I think that's all I could add for the studying in the UK essay.
All right, thank you so much. I think that the point you raised about like linking it back to the impact you want to make in your country is very, very important. Like that's really important. Like, I mean, probably the last paragraph of your essay, you want to link whatever, like saying, okay, studying this in the UK would help your country do this, and this. That is very, very important point that you shouldn't miss in your essay, probably the last paragraph. So thanks for that. So guys, you can see, hope you are taking, like, these are really, really important points. Hope if I was writing, like, I'm sure I would have had a full scap sheet filled with notes. Hope you are taking notes. You can see that for Onyi, for one of the reasons for choosing like allocation was probably like doing internships or a community of tech startup. For Grace, choosing Cardiff was like 600 castles. For Brendan, Asna, So you can see like varied reasons, and these are, of course, these are probably not main reasons, but like just part reasons why you want to show interest in the UK culture and other things that you also be doing, right? Those are really, really important points that you all should note down. So let's go back. Let's go to the last question, which I always consider to be like the most important, which is your career plan. So yeah, I think Grace, I'll ask you to go first, if you don't mind. So just talk about your career plan, how to write about it in the essay, how to structure, uh, what should they talk about, uh, and if you don't mind using examples.
Okay, so yes. So for my career plan essay, I had the first paragraph, like just a brief introduction of my career. And then the second paragraph was my short term, it was my short term goal. And then the third one was the medium term goal. And then the fourth was now the long term. And then fourth introduction. Okay, yes. So that's how I structured it now. Let's go to the essay itself. So for the career plan essay, it is very important. Okay, how my essay was, I felt it was very important for me to outline something that was not in my country, that with this education that I'm going to get in the UK, it will help me to address this challenge. And this challenge that I want to address in my country, I have broken it down to within the short term, it was 5 years. The medium term was 5 years. The short term was immediately when I go back to my country, and then the long term was 10 years. So with this challenge that I have already identified within my country, how can I address it? And with trying to address it, I wrote about how I will use my UK connections and also the projects that the DFID are doing within my country, how all these will help me immediately when I come back, and also like within the 5 years and within the 10 years after my education. So if you're able to break it down within the three categories, short term, medium, and long term, it will help you very much to be structured. And another thing that you should try and mention as well, that was that, okay, I don't think many people mention it, but anyway, try and incorporate even the UN SDG goals. Try and incorporate what your country is doing at the moment. Okay, so I'll give an example. I'm from Kenya, and I wrote that I want to do data science because I want to get this data science knowledge that will help the insurance industry in Kenya, that will also, like, it will help build a better health insurance system in Kenya. So how can I relate that to an SDG goal? So, okay, one of the big four agenda goals in Kenya, it was building good health systems. And there's a SDG goal of providing good healthcare. Yeah, there's one like that. So within all this, I picked up, and also there are projects that the UK are doing in Kenya relating to the health systems and providing affordable healthcare to the people over there. So I used all these examples to now break down. So my short-term goal, immediately I come back from the UK to Kenya, this is what I'll do. And in the near future, I hope to be one of the policymakers within my country, so that we can have these health systems that are sustainable for my country, and it will be for the greater good. So try and bring all these things together, because the UK also wants to see the impact it will have in your country through you, because they're investing in you. So it's very important to get that point across, and also try and have, because they want you to have a great impact within your country. So as you're outlining your career goal, if you put it in those three categories, it will be easy for you to write down. And also, while you're thinking, you'll have a clear mind map for each section. So that's the approach I took for my career plan essay. Yeah, that's what I can remember. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Grace. I think that's like the summary of it. That's really like summary. You can say like breaking it into um, short term, mid term, and long term. That's how you want to go about your career plan essay. Brendan, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you. Right. So for me, I did the same, outlining the short, medium, and long-term plans. I basically mentioned how my future plans and how I plan to achieve them. So not just put your plans down on paper. You need to say, okay, hey, I plan to do X, Y, Z to achieve this goal. And of course, this is based on your future. So it's not something that happened already with the leadership and the networking. This one is based on your future. So you can basically use your imagination here because you're stating things that hasn't happened yet. That's things that you plan to do. However, you need to be very realistic with how and the plans that you have, and it should be something that is achievable. So don't just go and say, hey, I plan to become the president of XYZ. If that's your plan and if you could show that it's achievable for you, then definitely. But if you can't show that it's achievable, then you don't just drop it on the in the essay. So basically, you want to show how you plan to use the skills and knowledge that you gain from the UK to help develop your country, your community, or how it fits within the theme that you presented at first. So if you talk about cybercrime is increasing in your country, you need to show, hey, this is how you plan to use that degree from the UK to, in your career to help address that. Again, as I said, ensure that whatever you plan is something that is achievable. Again, usually you want to achieve a lot, but you need to make sure that it is something that is achievable. One of the examples, someone who applied a couple of years ago, they told me that they got to the interview stage, but when they got there, they were being grilled a lot about their career path because they had a lot of different things that they wanted to achieve. Yes, of course, Chevening is looking for people who want to achieve a lot, but you need to also make sure that it seems achievable for you. All right. Yeah, let me see if I have any other points on that. I think I would have covered everything that I wanted to, but yeah, I think that's all I want to cover on the career plan essay.
Right. Thank you so much. In fact, that's really very, very important point. Like you are encouraged. In fact, if you check on the Chevening website, you will see it there, everyone, that you are encouraged to dream big, but at the same time, let your big dreams be realistic, and also let it be like smart goals. Like if you check what smart goals, like you want to make it smart goals, like time bound, achievable, realistic, measurable, and all of those things. So you can dream big. You can say you want to become the Minister of Communications or Minister of Digital Economy or Minister of Finance or whatever in your country. That's probably going to be like a long-term goal because of course you can, except you're already like maybe on that part, you can't use that as your immediate plan. Immediately you come back from Chevening and you're saying you want to become the Minister of Communications, like how? So it's not possible. It's not even realistically possible, except you're already close to that part, or you're already close to that line already. So you want to give like a realistic progression on how you're going to get there and make it. You can't say you're going to jump from maybe a junior analyst to become controller general. Like it doesn't make sense. So you have to make your career plan make sense. When let's get your thoughts on career plan exercise.
Yeah, so I agree with what everyone has said, and I think that's a very nice summary. Uh, because the UK investing in you, so you want to make sure that they're getting the return for their investment, and why they're investing in you is specifically because of what they are doing in your country. So you want to focus on that. You want to think about what is the UK doing in my country and how can I help support that. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to help them directly in what they're doing, but you have to think about in my own field, in my own area, how can I contribute to their their goal, to their to the metrics that they want to see in my country. So that's something you want to do. And when you are starting off, remember what I said about pulling that why into every single thing. And I think in the career essay is probably where it's going to matter a lot more, because then you're now saying very explicitly, this is what I'm about and this is what I plan to do in the future. So you're starting off with, okay, so I have, this is what I've done, this is what, and this is how everything I've done is going to lead me up until this point. And then outline, this is the goal, this is what the DFID is doing, or this is the UN, the goal, the development goals, and this is where I fit in, and this is where what my course is doing, or what I want to do fit into all of this. Then as part of your immediate goal, your short-term goal, and your long-term goal, you want to outline a very clear plan. So if you're saying in the next 5 years, I want to get a job as a, I don't know, as a senior person or a senior consultant for Microsoft in my country, you want to say how. You're not just saying how this is what I want to do, but you're talking about how. So based on my course, based on what I've done, or this is what I'm going to do in the short term that will get me to that long term. So is everything you're doing is aligned. So it's not you're saying in my short term I want to do this, and then in my long term what I want to do is completely different. Obviously, people change, your goals will change over time, but there still has to be a link, there still has to be a connection, and there has to be a way. You have to create a clear path to say, this is how I am going to get there. So if I come back, or before I even leave the UK, this is what I plan to do, this is how I plan to apply, or um, these are the kind of activities I expect to engage in while I'm in school that will prepare my portfolio for when I want to start making the application, or this is how these are the networks that I want to make. And this is also where you can pull in the networking bit as well, where you're talking about how Chevening can also help you. So you're saying, this is what I want to do, this is how I'm going to this is how I'm going to, show return on investment for the UK, but this is how my Chevening network and all these things, based on all these things I've gathered, this is what is going to help me do at the end of the day. But you want to make sure that whatever you're saying, you sound believable, and you don't just sound like you're just saying things off the top, or you're just being idealistic. It's good to be idyllic, and that's what they're looking for, dreamers. But like we said, you have to be very specific in how you're planning out your essay.
All right. Thank you very much. That was very detailed about your essay. You want to make sure you're very specific. You want to make sure a progression. I like the fact that you mentioned, like, if you say, okay, you have to look at what do you need to get to your midterm goal of 5 years. Do you need to take some certifications? Do you need to get to this point? Do you need to get to this point? Or do you need to get into this association? Or do you need to get to this job? All of that, that is what you're going to list like a progression in your career plan essay. And I like the fact that you mentioned it. In my own essay, like I said, I wanted to become like Minister of Digital Economy, and I listed like steps that I'm going to get there. Like, okay, I went to check who is the current minister and what he has been there. I went to check his CV, check his profile, how he got to where he is now. So that gave me like an idea. So that's another point that you can use. Like, okay, look at people who are currently in your futuristic role. Look at how they got there. Maybe you can check them out on LinkedIn, check their like work experience, check where they have worked. Maybe they started as a junior analyst, maybe they became like a senior analyst, then they left to a different work to become a consultant. Maybe from a consultant they became like a government consultant. Maybe from government consultant they became like a partner with, and they progress like that. They get to where they are. Look at, okay, can you model that kind of approach? Of course, everybody's experience might be different, but you can also, okay, since this is the steps that this person get there, maybe it might be similar for me to different. So that was what I did. That was what I did when I was like setting the path I wanted to get to your essay. So that was a very, very good point. Thank you so much. So now we are done with all the essays, and I hope our notes are filled with questions and everything that we have. So I'll just start with, so if you have questions, just raise your hand, and I would start with questions on the chat box. So if you have questions, just raise your hand, and I would allow you unmute and speak. So let me start from the top. So I think this question is about leadership essay. What if you empower someone in a way that is not linked to your course of study? So probably I think leadership essay. So they're talking about if you have done maybe not, if you have impacted people or done something or is not directly related to what you want to study. I think anyone can just go if you have thoughts on to answer the question.
I think for me, I think you don't necessarily in your leadership essay, it doesn't necessarily have to be all tied in to your course, but at least in one or two of those examples, there has to be something relating to your course. Remember what I said about your why, because if the giving is not related to what you're trying to do, it doesn't seem very convincing. So if for example you want to go and do you want to or your area, your field of expertise in cybersecurity is cybersecurity, and everyone here is in tech. Um, and the kind of leadership that you've done previously was, or probably when you were in your youth service, or you did a community outreach, a medical outreach, there has to be something in there that is related. Maybe you help them with their tech, whatever you help get something, like there has to be something in there. It doesn't have to be directly, but it has to link somehow. And you have three examples, so at least one or two of them has to be. So if you have any other completely, that's absolutely fine. But I think eventually you still, because you have to demonstrate that in your field, or in your area, you are a leader or you are an influencer in, or whatever your definition of leadership is. Um, there has to be a way that you explain that.
Right. I think I totally agree with what you said. Thanks so much. Any other thoughts, Brandon or Grace? Or should I just go ahead? Okay, so next question. For example, if I was a class rep or something, do I need to get a reference from a lecturer or colleague that proves so, or just mention it? So if you're talking about your essay or the examples that you gave in your essay, you wouldn't need to give a reference to confirm your, of course, you don't want to lie, but Chevening will not ask you to give reference to confirm your specific essay that, oh, to ask like, did this person actually do this thing? I mean, if you lie, you're going to get caught in the interview. So there's no point, because the kind of questions that you're going to be asked on the interview would show that you probably told a lie in your essay question. So, well, yeah, you're not going to be asked for reference to your examples, just the main reference for the application itself. That's the only reference that you would need. What if I don't have any internship experience? For example, if I didn't study IT related course in my undergraduate, but want to study either cybersecurity, software engineering, or robotics, how does one narrate the leadership skill? I don't know, Brendan, do you have any thoughts on that?
Let's see.
I think they don't have like background in IT, but they want to study IT course.
Okay. So for the leadership essay, in terms of you don't really need to tie it 100% back to the degree that you're studying. Of course, you just show that how you were how you are a leader in your previous experiences. However, if you are basically changing fields, quote unquote, you can state why, and of course you state why, and you state the benefits of changing that role. But in terms of your leadership essay, I don't think you 100% need to tie it into what you're going to study. Yes, it's beneficial to have a couple of examples, but if you don't, then I don't think you'll be penalized for it. I could be wrong, but someone else could chime in here.
Yeah, I think that's totally correct. Like you don't necessarily need to tie, like also like I think it applies to what Owen said earlier. Like at least you want to have at least maybe an example that ties to it, like or at least relates a bit to what you want to study, but it doesn't necessarily have to be 100%. I agree. Grace, I don't know if you want to take this question. Can I choose all university only Scotland, UK?
Yes, absolutely. That is even amazing because you'll have done so much research on it. By the time you're choosing Scotland, like by the time you're choosing that all your three universities should be in Scotland, you have researched, you know why exactly you want to go to Scotland. So if that's where you feel led to, please do exactly that. And make sure you've done good research and substantial research as well. And also to the schools that you'll be applying to, make sure the schools that you've chosen also relate to the course you want to go to do over there. So it is how best you will defend your case. Really, it's a good idea for you to go with Scotland. Yeah. Okay, I'd advocate for that, but don't limit yourself if there's another, like if there's a university that's not in Scotland and you still like to apply to. Yeah, you can still go ahead with that. But if you choose Scotland, go all the way. That place is beautiful. Okay, bye.
Yeah, Scotland is beautiful and cold. You didn't tell them that.
Oh, very cold, extremely. I don't know.
Scotland
Is
gets
it
cold
cold
than
and
other
well?
part, more than other parts of the UK.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
brace yourself. Actually, in your essay, if you want to go to Scotland, you can say that you want to experience the weather because maybe you're coming from a tropical country and you've never been. Okay. Yeah. In your interview, you could say something like that. Okay. Okay, well, yeah, that's my tip for that. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. That's absolutely correct. So you can choose all your universities in one city if all your universities and they have the same course or similar courses. Like for example, let's say there are lots of universities in London, and maybe fortunately for you, all your universities, all the like you're able to get three different universities in London with similar courses. You can choose the same London for all your three universities. You're not going to be penalized. Yeah, of course, please go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, I agree. You can apply to one place. Um, Chevening doesn't really care where you apply. I think what they care about is that you actually get the admission. So if you are sure that those places that you're applying to, you will get the admission, as long as, of course, it's in the UK and it's one of the schools that you can apply to. It doesn't matter whether it's in one place, or if you're applying to a similar course in the same school, or if yeah, as long as you can demonstrate show that you will be getting the there's no reason for that.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. I don't know if someone can please review my essay. Okay, if you have questions, just raise your hands. I will just soon allow you to go. For the review of essays, I can't take any review right now anymore, fortunately. But if you're on the mentorship group, you should be covered as long as you're on this call. All essays I have read and had always geared towards creating policies in your career path. Is this the goal of Chevening? They said all the essays I've read. Did you go about reading people's essays and see that everyone is creating policies in their career plan? But anyways, yeah. Who wants to weigh in on that question? So I would say not necessarily. So if you see, so it depends. So I think if you see that, okay, yeah, for things to really change in your country on your long-term goal, policy has to be changed. I think it's worth including. So if you see that, okay, for things to change permanently, there are some policies that are not working currently in your country, or that need to reform, or that needs to be changed, or that needs to be edited. That's not a goal for Chevening, it's just a goal for yourself. If you say, okay, based on what you want to do in your career plan, or based on how you want to help your country, there are significant things that would not take effect except policy changes are implemented. That's a good one. But it's not like you have to be policy. Some people their long-term goal is to get a job in World Bank. That's okay too. I have a friend currently, Chevening scholar. One of our long-term goals is like to work in UNICEF. So those are like international NGO organizations. So that's not a policy creating in their country. That's also like a long-term goal. So it's not like a goal of Chevening to create policies. It just depends on your own career plan. Regarding studying in UK essays. Okay, yeah, sorry. Go ahead, sis.
For that. Also, I don't know where you're seeing all these essays that you're
Yeah.
reading. Yeah, I think one thing I would say is you need to be very careful about the essays or asking people for their essays. People sometimes ask me for my essay, and I usually ask people don't give people my essays because there is a way that reading someone's stuff influences you, and Chevening wants your own unique experience, wants your own unique what the unique thing that you bring to the table. They don't want you to be a copy of another person. And I think that's really why the reason why tech Chevening courses or tech courses in Chevening seems like a unicorn because most of the people that I usually see are usually people that are in policy, people in law, people in health,
Mm,
and that kind of thing. So it makes it look all in social economy, those kinds of things. It makes it look like that's the focus of Chevening, and absolutely not. Children is not looking for, one one like if all of us go about creating policies, who is going to be implementing all those policies? So you need to make sure that you are thinking about what is the unique thing I bring to the table, how can I communicate that? So it's absolutely not their intention to make it look like your career path or what you want to do has to look in one certain way. I know, several people that are in the art or in the creative area that are achieving scholars. They are not in policy, they are not in politics, they are not trying to get a position in World Bank or whatever. But they have their own unique story that adds to the impact that Chevening is looking for, and because of that, they got the scholarship. So please just focus on your own story, focus on how you can tell your own story and make it convincing, and make it sound like, yeah, you really, really want this thing. Focus on that more than actually trying to fit into something you think you're really looking for.
all right. Thank you so much. I really totally agree. So, and I would say also like try to limit I'm not sure how many essays you're reading, like, so that it doesn't form like a subconscious perception, and then you start doing that lane of essays that you have read. So you want to like be independent because also you don't want to copy people's essays um, when you're writing because Chevening is very diverse. That's one of the purpose of this webinar, the one that we did last week. We are invited their program officer and then the cyber policy unit of FCDO officer to come. It's because like a lot of people think Chevening is about arts or health and all of that, and sciences or IT particularly courses are not really represented. That's one of the reasons why I'm doing this webinar. So sure, and all of us on this call, like all of the mentors on this call, they all studied or are studying IT related courses. So yeah, anything can, as long as you can convince Chevening that it's really you're really worth the investment, and then what you're going to do is actually something that's very, very impactful. Thank you so much, Oyin, for that. Nasi was
Let me just add
okay.
a point. I'm sorry. So yeah, regarding that, because when I was applying for Chevening, And let me give a real life example. So I had not done anything related to public health, these things related to public policy. But the first time I applied for Chevening, well, I read the essays and all the essays were public something. And I did, for my undergraduate, I did actuarial science. But my first time applying for Chevening, I decided, oh, well, these people who are going for the public policy stuff, they're the ones getting them. So that's what I wrote in my application. And I was applying for public health because I thought that is my path, right? I think I was rejected even before those people read my essays. To be honest, I got my rejection in December. I have a feeling maybe I wrote I don't want to go back to my home country, but oh well. So for the second time I was applying, I decided to be true to myself, and not having so many people who apply for Chevening and they're in tech, it's really hard for you to justify. I know it's kind of hard because, like, I mean, if someone going for public policy, they may have a greater impact than you who's maybe going to, for example, a data analyst, So, but it's how well you'll be able to portray yourself and how you'll be able to connect your education and your career and the leader that you are and the networking experience or the networks that you've had, how you build and maintain them. It's how all-rounded of a person you are. So that's a real life example. You got for public stuff. And then, okay, for me, it failed. And then the second time I applied and became true to myself, that's when I got it. So it's not that they only give to people who are going for the public policy stuff and everything. Yeah, that I hope I've encouraged someone. So if you're in tech, go for it. You'll get it. Okay, thanks. Bye.
All right, thank you so much, Grace. In fact, I would also say like I think when I wanted to apply, I don't know, I don't know if you would still remember, like I think in 2021, I reached out because I was looking for people who have gotten Chevening in IT courses, and I didn't really see a lot of people. But Oyin was one of the few people I saw then, I think 2021. So I just DM'd her on Instagram, like I saw you got Chevening and you're studying IT, human computer interaction. I want to apply for cybersecurity. What tips do you have for me? And she just encouraged me, like, just apply, go for it. And I applied my first time. I got Chevening on my first trial, and here we are today. So I would say like Oyin is even one of like the inspiration for these webinars I've been doing, like to like tell people like you can actually apply for Chevening when you're in IT courses and all of that, and get it. And you don't necessarily. Chevening is not just for social sciences, health courses, and don't just. I mean, don't. You might be doing yourself a disservice if you think you are writing or you're going towards the line that you feel Chevening wants to see. Because I was speaking to the program officer or Chevening program officer, and then she was telling me like, because before we did the previous webinar last week, she was like, she didn't want to like, because I was saying like, okay, what are UK priorities? If she can talk about UK priorities. And so like, she didn't want to really say, okay, this is UK priorities, because then people now start to toe that line and say, okay, this is what Chevening wants to see in the application. So they'll start going to that line because there's people who who are studying diverse courses. There's somebody on our current cohort from Nigeria studying psychology. And when she was telling me UK priorities, psychology is not part of the UK priorities, like at least UK core priorities in Nigeria. And she got Chevening. So it's not about like doing what you think that Chevening wants to see, just being true to yourself, and then how you can show the impact that you're going to make, and the need for your cause in your country, and how you can show that impact. I think that's the main thing, not necessarily going with, okay, this is what everybody is doing, or this is what you think Chevening wants to see, and all of that. I mean, and even besides, these days, IT is booming. And I think it's also like a very good point of argument that you can use in your essays. Everything is going digital since COVID-19. People are going digital. People need protection online, cybercrime, IoT, cloud security, all of those things. Those are needs. But of course, you cannot just come from nowhere and say you want to study cloud security if you have not been doing at least small things that shows precedence that they can convince them. Because if you see, will you give yourself Chevening scholarship? So ask yourself, what I've written, this one I've written, if I was one that was reading it as a panelist, will I give myself the scholarship? So that would really give you some introspection and say, oh yeah, maybe you're just, because if you studying agricultural engineering or agriculture, and then you have not done anything IT, and then you just want to say you want to go to cloud security, which is even much more core IT, without any experience with zero thing, and it's just random. So, and then except if you have very strong reasons, and you even if you say you want to really make a very big impact in your country, what is the precedence that you have shown that you have been doing small impacts in that field, that Chevening will even believe you that you want to actually make this kind of big impact to give you the scholarship? So these are the things that thought process I should think about when you're writing your essays. And yeah, kudos to Wayne for all of this. Yeah. Nase, I'll just allow you to unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hello. Hello.
Hi, we can hear you. Please go ahead. 1 minute, please. Okay. Thank you, Wayne. Thank you so much for coming on board. I was really good being here.
All right, bye everyone. Thanks, Jonathan.
All right, thank you. Bye. Okay, I think your network was bad. I think we have taken most of the questions. Let me see if there's any other one left. Okay, someone is asking schools that accept that gives admission without IELTS. So I think this is what I shouldn't be answering this kind of question on the call. This is what you should have gotten from your research. Nobody's going to, I mean, people have responded to you, but this is what you should do from your research. Not trying to like ask, go to those schools, go to their website, go to the admission website, check their admission policy. I mean, most schools in the UK accept, even if you are from Africa, accept WAEC. If you did WAEC, I think West Africa anyways. If you have WAEC, so most schools in the UK, they might write IELTS there, but if you dig deeper, you will see where they accept WAEC or letter of instruction from your bachelor's degree. So you don't even need IELTS for UK schools. The percentage of UK schools that need IELTS is very, very low, except and if you're from Africa or if you're from an English speaking country and you did your bachelor's degree in English. I got an admission to study in University of Aberdeen with provisional admission to same. I want to seek advice on whether check the school and see if they accept other means of English proficiency aside from TOEFL or IELTS. So if they do provide that, if you are sure, so it means you have to check them first, because you don't want to include a school that is very strict on if a school is asking for IELTS and they don't accept any other means of English proficiency, and they are not going to accept any other means of proficiency, and you don't have the ones that they're asking for. So that's a very risky game of including it in your 3 schools, because you might say you plan to write the exam later on, but how sure are you that your plans might work out? Maybe you might meet up to the cutoff score and all of that. So yeah, just weigh your options and do what best based on that. So people asking how to join the mentorship group. Sorry, it's no longer open to the public. So I can still see your hand is up, Nasir. Do you still have a question to ask? I think that's all.
Can you hear me?
Your background is very noisy. Yeah, anyways, yeah, thank you so much, Brandon. I don't know if you have any last words for our participants, Brandon and Grace. So,
yeah, sorry. Yeah, I guess I can finish up with some closing words. First and foremost, one of my final tips. One, ensure that you're authentic, or be authentic as possible. I think we probably mentioned that already. But you don't want to, take pieces of people's essays and so forth. You want to tell your own story. Of course, Chevening have ways of finding out, and they would find out, and of course you will be disqualified. one of the most important things, you need to read the instructions from the Chevening website. I think Jonathan would have highlighted that a couple of times. Ensure that you read the instructions, because they ask for specific things. Of course, we give you as much advice as we can, but you need to follow what they ask for as well. And it's quite straightforward. So just read and just incorporate the things that they ask for in your essay as well. Of course, you want to proofread. Don't submit something that is that has a lot of grammatical errors or spelling errors and so forth. Let your friends proofread. Let us pass Chevening proofread for you as well. And at the end of the day, your essays, all the essays together should basically present a narrative to Chevening. It should show your past achievements, your future aspirations, and it should also show how Chevening fits into your journey. So yeah, and with that, good luck to you guys. I hope you guys get through.
Thank you so much. Grace, and last words.
Hi. My last word will be just believe that you're the one who'll get it, because I remember the entire time during my application, I used to tell myself, Grace, as you're doing this, if they don't select you, who will? So give yourself that motivation. As you're writing this, tell yourself, if there's one person to be selected in my country, it is me. And the other thing I like saying, hold the vision, trust the process. The vision is you want to get this Chevening scholarship, trust the process. If maybe you're working, when I was applying for this scholarship, I was working an 8 to 6 job, and sometimes you have to wake up so early to write the essays. So trust the process. Eventually it will pay off, and you got this. The fact that you're this determined to even join this webinar to hear about the Chevening essays, for you to get tips, for you looking for mentors to review your essays, it shows that you have what it takes to get a scholarship. So believe in yourself, you got this, and see you in the UK next year. Okay, I'll not be in the UK, but yes. You'll be at Heathrow next year. Okay, thank you. And thank you, Jonathan, for having us.
Thank you so much, guys, for coming on this call. Okay, there's one quick question. What happens when the school you're applying to request to pay a tuition deposit? So Chevening does not advise paying any tuition deposit. So what you can do in this kind of case is email the school and tell them you are applying for Chevening, and if they can wait till the result is out before. I mean, that's if you are really keen on going to that school. Some schools would allow you until July next year when Chevening results comes out. Some schools will say no, and if they say no, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing Chevening can do. You just have to look for another school that you can use. So with that, I would allow everyone to unmute and just let's thank our mentors and for giving their time. So guys, just unmute and tell our mentors thank you and for giving their time and for giving us our tips, coming on this call out of their busy schedule to teach us how to write a good application.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thanks to all the mentors. Thank you so much for the information.
Thank you,
It's been
Grace.
really helpful.
Thank you, Jonathan.
All right, you're welcome, everyone. Thank you, Brendan. Thank you,
Thank
Grace.
you so much.
Thank you, everyone, for coming on the webinar, and I will see you next time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.